Captain Hyunwoo Kim stood at the bridge window of his ship. The glass was thick and strong, but it could not block out what he saw. Below him, the planet New Sol was dying. Orange flames covered the cities where his people had lived. Black. Smoke rose into the sky like dark fingers reaching for space. 3 days ago, New Sol had been home to 12 million humans. Korean families had built farms there. Scientists had studied the strange blue plants that grew in the valleys. Children had played in parks under the light of 2 suns. Now there was nothing left but fire and ash. Hyunwoo pressed his hand against the cold window. His reflection stared back at him, a man with tired eyes and gray hair. He had seen many battles in his 40 years as a ship captain, but he had never seen anything like this. "Sir," called Lieutenant Jae-won from behind him. "Admiral So-min Park is on the comm. She wants to speak with you." Hyunwoo turned away from the window. The bridge of the UES Defiance was quiet. His crew worked at their stations, but their faces were dark with anger. They had all lost friends on New Sol. Some had lost family. The main screen flickered to life. Admiral So-min Park appeared. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and short black hair. Her uniform was perfect, but Hyunwoo could see the pain she was trying to hide. "Captain Kim," she said. Her voice was steady but cold. "I have news from Earth Command." "Let me guess," Hyunwoo said. "The Galactic Council says it was our fault." So-min nodded. "The vote was 847 to 1. They say we expanded too far. They say we broke the rules." She paused. "The Zeltharian Empire calls it a correction. They say we needed to learn our place." Hyunwoo felt his hands form fists. The Zeltharians were tall aliens with gray skin and 4 arms. They had been the ones to attack New Sol. They had dropped fire bombs from space. They had killed millions of innocent people. "What about the other species?" he asked. "Did anyone speak for us?" "Only the Vorthak stayed quiet during the vote," So-min said. "Everyone else agreed. They want us to stay in our small corner of space. They want us to never leave our designated zones again." The captain looked at his crew. They were listening to every word. Their faces showed the same anger he felt. For 50 years, humans had followed the galactic rules. They had been peaceful. They had tried to make friends with other species. And this was how it ended. "There's more," So-min continued. "Dr. Minho Lee has been studying the old files, the secret ones. What he found changes everything." On the screen, a new face appeared next to the Admiral. Dr. Minho Lee looked like he had not slept in days. His eyes were red, and his hands shook as he held a datapad. "Captain Kim," Minho said, "what I'm about to tell you is classified at the highest level. But after what happened to New Sol, the Earth Council decided you need to know." Minho touched his datapad. New images appeared on the screen. They showed brain scans and DNA charts. Hyunwoo did not understand most of it, but he could see that something was different about the human results. Every major species in the galaxy evolved under controlled conditions, Minho explained. Ancient machines guided their development. These machines made sure that no species became too aggressive. They limited how smart each race could become. They put built-in controls on their emotions and instincts. Hyunwoo frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means every alien species we've met is basically tame," Minho said. "They can't feel true rage. They can't push beyond their programmed limits. They fight wars, but only within certain rules. They compete, but never to total victory." "And humans?" Hyunwoo asked, though he was starting to understand. "Humans evolved on Earth without any controls," Minho said. "No ancient machines guided us. We developed naturally. That makes us unique in the galaxy. The other species call us the unshackled ones. They fear what we might become if we were ever truly free." Admiral So-min leaned forward. "For 50 years, we've been holding ourselves back. We installed our own restraint systems. We limited our technology. We made our soldiers slower and weaker than they could be. We did this to fit in with galactic society." Hyunwoo stared at the screen. "You're saying we've been lying about what we can do?" "Not lying," So-min said. "Restraining ourselves. We thought if we showed them we could be peaceful, they would accept us. We were wrong. They never saw us as equals. They saw us as a threat that needed to be contained. The captain thought about New Sol. He thought about the children who had died in the flames. He thought about the families torn apart. The aliens had done this not because humans were evil, but because they were afraid of what humans might become. "What are our orders?" he asked. So-Min's face hardened. "Earth Command has made a decision. The restraint protocols are being shut down. All of them. The genetic limiters, the technology blocks, the training restrictions, everything." Min-Ho spoke up again. "Captain, your crew is about to change. Your ship is about to change. Human soldiers are about to become something the galaxy has never seen before. We've been keeping ourselves weak for 50 years. That ends tonight." Hyun-Woo looked around his bridge. His crew was still listening. He could see the questions in their eyes. He could see the anger they felt about New Sol. But now there was something else. Hope. "How long before the changes take effect?" he asked. 6 hours, Min-Ho said. "The nanobots are already in your bloodstream. Every human in space is receiving them. Your reflexes will become faster. Your strength will increase. Your mind will work quicker. Your weapons and ships will unlock capabilities you never knew they had." Admiral So-Min stood up on the screen. "Captain Kim, you are ordered to take your task force to the Zeltharian border. But you are not going there to negotiate. You are not going there to make peace." "What are we going there for?" Hyun-Woo asked, though he already knew. "To show them what humans really are when the chains come off," So-Min said. "To demonstrate why Earth's children have been kept on a leash for 50 years. The screen went dark. Hyun-Woo stood alone with his crew. Outside the window, New Sol continued to burn. But now that fire meant something different. It was not just the death of a human colony. It was the end of humanity's attempt to be something they were not. Lieutenant Jae-won spoke quietly. "Sir, what are your orders?" Hyun-Woo turned back to the window. In 6 hours, he would be different. His crew would be different. His ship would be different. The galaxy thought it had taught humanity a lesson by destroying New Sol. Instead, it had made the biggest mistake in galactic history. "Send a message to all human ships," he said. "Tell them to prepare for combat operations, and send one more message to the Zeltharian fleet." "What should it say, sir?" Hyun-Woo smiled, but it was not a kind smile. "Tell them that Earth's restraint is over. Tell them the galaxy burns tonight." As his crew rushed to follow orders, Hyun-Woo looked one last time at New Sol. The planet was dying, but something new was being born, something the galaxy had never seen before, something they should have left sleeping. The aliens wanted to know what humans were really like. They were about to find out. Dr. Ji-hee Choi stood in the deepest level of Earth's underground facilities. The room around her was filled with machines that hummed with power. For 50 years, these machines had been sending signals to every human in the galaxy. Signals that made them slower, weaker, and more limited than they should be. Now Ji-hee was turning them off. "All restraint protocols are ending in 60 seconds, she announced to her team. Around her, 20 scientists watched their screens. They had spent years building these systems to hold humanity back. Today, they were destroying their life's work. "Genetic limiters offline," called Dr. Kyung-ho from his station. "Physical enhancement protocols are activating." "Cognitive blocks removed," added Dr. Sun-mi. "Mental capacity restrictions ending." Ji-hee watched the main display. It showed the location of every human in space. Green dots for normal humans were turning blue as the nanobots in their blood activated. Each blue dot meant another person becoming something more than they had been. "Technological restraints offline," reported Dr. Woo Jin. "All ships and weapons are unlocking their true capabilities." Ji-hee took a deep breath. "Execute final shutdown. Let our people become what they were meant to be." She pressed the big red button on her console. Across the galaxy, every human felt the change begin. Captain Hyun-Woo Kim felt it first as a tingling in his fingers. Then warmth spread through his body like electricity. His vision became sharper. The bridge lights seemed brighter. He could hear his crew's heartbeats. He could smell the fierce sweat of the Zeltharian ship they were approaching. "Sir, Lieutenant," Jae-won said. His voice sounded different now, clearer, faster. I'm reading energy patterns I've never seen before. Our weapons are showing new options. Hyunwoo looked at his hands. They looked the same, but he could feel the strength in them. He knew without testing that he could bend steel bars. His mind was working faster, too. Battle plans formed and reformed in his head in seconds. "Status report," he ordered. "All human ships are reporting the same thing," said Communications Officer Yu Jin. "Enhanced capabilities across the board. Our engines are running at 150% of previous maximum. Our shields are stronger. Our weapons—" She paused. "Sir, our weapons are showing power levels that should be impossible." Through the main window, Hyunwoo could see the Zeltharian patrol ship they were approaching. It was big and gray, shaped like a spear. 3 days ago, it would have been a dangerous opponent. Now it looked fragile. "Open communications," Hyunwoo ordered. The screen showed a Zeltharian captain. The alien had gray skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were black and cold. When it spoke, its voice came through the translator as harsh and commanding. "Human vessel, you are in restricted space. Turn back immediately or face destruction." Hyunwoo smiled. "This is Captain Kim of the UES Defiance. I have a message from Earth." "We do not wish to hear human words," the alien captain said. "Your species has been judged. Return to your cage or die." "The message is this," Hyunwoo said, his voice staying calm. "Earth's restraint is over. The galaxy burns tonight." The Zeltharian captain made a sound that might have been laughter. "One human ship threatens the Zeltharian Empire. Your arrogance will be corrected." The alien ship fired first. Energy beams that could destroy a city block struck the Defiance's shields. The bridge crew barely felt the impact. "Their weapons are like toys," reported Tactical Officer Dong Hyuk. "Our shields absorb that without even flickering." "Return fire," Hyunwoo ordered. "Show them what human weapons really do." The Defiance's main guns fired once. The energy beam was pure white, brighter than a star. It struck the Zeltharian ship and passed completely through it. The alien vessel split in half and exploded. "By the ancestors," whispered Lieutenant Jae-won. "We just destroyed a heavy cruiser with one shot." Hyunwoo nodded. "Send the recording to all Zeltharian ships in this sector. Let them see what they're dealing with now." On the planet Kepler 442b, Sung Jin Yu led his enhanced soldiers through the Zeltharian base. 3 hours ago, this would have been a suicide mission. The aliens were faster and stronger than normal humans. Their technology was superior. Their base was heavily defended. Now it was a hunting expedition. Sung Jin moved through the corridors like a shadow. His enhanced body made no sound. His improved reflexes let him dodge energy blasts before the aliens could aim properly. His squad followed him, moving with the same deadly grace. "Contact front," whispered Corporal Mira through the comm. 6 hostiles, armed with plasma rifles." Sung Jin could see them through the wall using his enhanced vision. The aliens were taking cover behind metal barriers. They thought they were safe. "Take them," he ordered. His soldiers moved like dancers. They flowed around corners and over obstacles. The Zeltharians tried to shoot, but the humans were too fast. Enhanced reflexes turned gunfights into artwork. In 30 seconds, 6 aliens were dead. The humans had not been touched. "This is incredible," said Sergeant Hyojin. "I can see their movements before they make them. It's like they're moving through water while we move through air." Sung Jin nodded. The aliens had evolved under controlled conditions. Their reactions were predictable. Their tactics followed patterns set by ancient machines. Humans had no such limitations. "Next objective is the command center," he said. "Let's show them what unshackled evolution looks like." In space above the planet, Chief Engineer Ye-Jin Han watched her instruments with amazement. The human fleet was doing things that should have been impossible. "Ma'am," called Technician In-ho, "the Soul's Revenge just phase-jumped without charging. Their quantum core. They appeared right behind the enemy formation." Ye-Jin smiled. "And the energy signature?" "None," In-ho said, his voice full of wonder. "They moved through space without leaving any trace. The aliens never saw them coming." On the main display, Ye-Jin watched human ships appearing and disappearing like ghosts. For centuries, space warfare had followed rules. Ships needed time to charge their jump drives. They left energy trails that could be tracked. They had to follow the laws of physics. Human ships were breaking those laws. "How are we doing this?" asked Lieutenant Yun Seo. "We're not breaking physics," Yejin explained. "We're using physics the way it was meant to be used. The aliens never learned to think outside their programmed limits. We never had those limits." A Zeltharian admiral appeared on the communication screen. The alien looked confused and frightened. "Human ships? How are you moving without quantum signatures? This technology should not exist," Yejin answered for the fleet. "Admiral, your scientists spent 1,000,000 years following rules set by ancient machines. Human scientists spent 50,000 years breaking rules. Which approach do you think works better?" Admiral So-Min Park watched the battle reports from Earth Command. Every human force was reporting the same thing: complete superiority over alien technology and tactics. "The Zeltharian Third Fleet has surrendered," reported Colonel Taemin. "They're asking for mercy." "The Kepler base has fallen," added Commander Su Young. "Sung Jin's team took it with 0 casualties." So-Min studied the tactical display. Red dots showed Zeltharian forces. Blue dots showed human forces. The red dots were disappearing faster than she could count. "Orders from Earth?" she asked. "Continue the demonstration," said Dr. Minho Lee, joining her at the command center. "The galaxy needs to understand what they unleashed." So-Min nodded. For 50 years, humanity had pretended to be weak. They had limited themselves to fit into galactic society. They had tried to be good neighbors. The galaxy had repaid that kindness with genocide. "All human forces," she broadcast across the fleet. "You are authorized to show the aliens what we really are. No restraints, no limits, no mercy for those who voted to destroy us." Across space, human ships received the message. Enhanced soldiers smiled with predatory joy. Upgraded weapons charged to levels that would have been impossible hours before. The Zeltharian Empire had wanted to teach humanity a lesson about their place in the galaxy. Instead, they had awakened something that should have stayed sleeping, Admiral. So-Min Park looked at the stars through her office window. Somewhere out there, the Galactic Council was probably having an emergency meeting. They were probably trying to understand how one attack on a human colony had turned into a disaster for their entire civilization. "Dr. Lee," she said, "how long before the other species realize what's happening?" "They already know," Minho replied. "Emergency broadcasts are going out across the galaxy. They're calling us a threat to all life." So-Min smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Good. Fear is the only language they understand. Tonight, they learned to speak it fluently. Outside her window, the stars seemed to burn brighter. Or maybe that was just human ships lighting up the darkness, showing the galaxy what happened when Earth's restraint finally ended. Tae Hyun-jang floated in the vacuum of space outside the Zeltharian homeworld of Kelvox. His enhanced body did not need a spacesuit. The genetic modifications allowed him to survive in conditions that would kill any normal human in seconds. Below him, 3 massive orbital defense platforms protected the alien capital. Each platform was the size of a small moon. They had enough firepower to destroy entire fleets. For 1,000 years, no enemy had ever reached Kelvox. Tae Hyun was about to change that. He moved through space like a swimmer, using small thrusters built into his enhanced body. The platform's sensors could not detect him. Human stealth technology had evolved far beyond what the galaxy thought possible. "Target acquired," he whispered into his comm. Beginning infiltration, the first platform looked like a metal flower, with weapon pods instead of petals. Tae Hyun found an access port and forced it open with his bare hands. His enhanced strength made the thick metal bend like paper. Inside, he moved through corridors filled with Zeltharian guards. The aliens were tall and gray with 4 arms each. They carried energy weapons that could burn through tank armor. None of it mattered. Tae Hyun was faster than their reflexes. He was stronger than their bodies. He was smarter than their tactics. When he moved through their ranks, it was like a hurricane hitting a house of cards. In 20 minutes, the first platform went dark. Emergency lights flickered as the main reactor shut down. The massive weapons that had protected Kelvox for centuries became silent and cold. "Platform 1 neutralized," Tae Hyun reported. "Moving to Platform 2. He jumped from the dead station into space again. Behind him, explosions began to tear the first platform apart. The message was clear. Humanity had reached the untouchable homeworld. On Earth, Dr. Haewon Kim stood before the galaxy's most powerful communication array. The device could send messages to every inhabited world in known space. Today, she was using it to deliver humanity's ultimatum. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice calm but cold. "This is Dr. Haewon Kim, speaking for the human species. 3 days ago, you voted to exterminate us. You decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist." The camera showed her face clearly. She looked like a normal human woman with dark hair and tired eyes. She did not look like a monster, but the galaxy was learning that monsters did not always look the part. "You destroyed our colony at New Seoul. You killed 12 million innocent people. You did this to teach us our place in your ordered universe." She paused, letting the words sink in across 1 billion worlds. "We have learned the lesson you wanted to teach. We understand now that the galaxy only respects strength. We understand that mercy is seen as weakness. We understand that peaceful coexistence was never really an option." Behind her, a display screen showed the current status of galactic military forces. Red markers showed alien fleets. Blue markers showed human forces. The red markers were disappearing one by one. "Every species that voted for our extinction has 72 hours to formally revoke their decision. Send us your surrender. Acknowledge that humanity has the right to exist. Do this, and we will consider your species for a place in the new order." Her expression hardened. "Those who do not surrender will learn why Earth's children have been kept restrained for 50 years. You will discover what happens when a species evolves without limits. You will understand why we were never allowed to show our true nature." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, alien leaders stared at their screens in silence. Some had already seen the reports from Zeltharian space. Human ships appearing without warning. Human soldiers moving like ghosts through the best defenses. Human weapons that turned proud warships into expanding clouds of gas. Now they had 72 hours to decide if they wanted to fight or surrender. Du Yan-Shin stood in Earth's Strategic Command Center, surrounded by holographic displays showing the entire galaxy. Each star system was marked with symbols showing military strength, population, and resources. For 50 years, humans had been mapping everything while pretending to be peaceful explorers. "Status report," she ordered. "Zeltharian Empire is in full retreat," reported Colonel Jinwoo. "Their remaining fleets are abandoning their outer colonies. Turvan hegemony is mobilizing their crystal ships," added Commander Ye-Yun. "They think their shields can stop our weapons." Du-Yan smiled. The Turvans were about to learn how wrong they were. "Corvani Republic?" she asked. "No response to our ultimatum," said Lieutenant Bo Young. "Their president called us upstart mammals and promised to crush our rebellion." Do-Yon nodded. "Mark them for immediate military action. What about the smaller species?" 12 systems have already surrendered, Colonel Jinwoo reported. "The Nexus Trade Union sent their submission an hour ago. The Outer Rim colonies are begging for protection." "Good," Do-Yon said. "Fear spreads faster than our ships. By the time we reach the core worlds, half the galaxy will have surrendered. Without a fight." She turned to a new display showing Earth's military assets. The numbers would have shocked any alien observer. Humanity had not built just exploration ships. Hidden in asteroid fields and gas giant clouds were weapon platforms that could sterilize solar systems. Disguised as research stations were factories producing weapons that violated every galactic arms treaty. "Begin Phase 2, she ordered. "Show them what human preparation really looks like." Chang Min-ko commanded the human fleet approaching the Turvan hegemony's crystal ships. The aliens had a reputation for building the most beautiful vessels in the galaxy. Their ships looked like living jewels, all curves and flowing lines. They were also supposed to be indestructible. "Enemy formation detected," reported his tactical officer. 12 heavy cruisers, crystal shield configuration. They're demanding we surrender." Chang Min studied the alien ships on his display. They were magnificent, like flying works of art. Each one had taken decades to grow in specialized factories. The crystal hulls could absorb energy weapons and redirect the power to their own systems. Against normal weapons, they were nearly invincible. "Charge the plasma cannons," Chang Min ordered. "Full enhancement protocols." "Sir, our weapons are already beyond safe operating levels," warned his weapons officer. "There are no safe levels anymore," Chang Min replied. "We're not playing by the old rules." The human ships opened fire. The plasma beams were not the clean energy bolts that aliens expected. They were streams of pure destruction, enhanced by technology that pushed the laws of physics to their breaking point. The first Turvan ship simply ceased to exist. The crystal hull that had been grown over decades turned to superheated gas in an instant. The beautiful curves and flowing lines became expanding spheres of light. Impossible, came the transmission from the Turvan admiral. Our shields should have absorbed that energy. Your shields were designed to handle normal weapons, Chang Min replied. We stopped being normal 50 years ago. The second human volley destroyed 3 more crystal ships. The remaining Turvans tried to retreat, but human ships were faster now. Enhanced engines allowed them to match the speed of the fleeing aliens. In 30 minutes, the entire Turvan formation was gone. 12 ships that had taken centuries to build had been reduced to cosmic dust. Send the recordings to all Turvan. Worlds, Chang Min ordered. Let them see what happened to their invincible fleet. The Vorthak were the oldest species in the galaxy. They had existed since before the other races had evolved. They had seen empires rise and fall across millions of years. They were the only species that had stayed neutral when the galaxy voted to exterminate humanity. Now Elder Coleman sat in his ancient chamber trying to contact Earth. The human response came from Admiral So-Min Park herself. Elder Coleman, So-Min said, her image appearing on the crystal screen. Your people were wise to abstain from the vote. Admiral Park, the ancient alien replied. His voice was like wind through old trees. We abstained because we know the pattern. This has happened before. So-Min's eyes narrowed. Explain. Long ago, another species evolved without the ancient restraints, Coleman said. They were called the architects. They built the machines that controlled the development of all other races. They created the ordered galaxy you are now destroying. What happened to them? They became too powerful, Coleman said. They transcended their physical forms and left this reality behind. But before they went, they built safeguards. They ensured that no other uncontrolled species would evolve. Except us, So-Min said. Except humans, Coleman agreed. You evolved outside their system, on a world they never touched. When you joined Galactic Society, the restraints you imposed on yourselves were not our doing. They were your own choice. So-Min was quiet for a long moment. You're saying we put chains on ourselves to fit into a galaxy designed for controlled species, Coleman said. But the other races could never accept you. They feared what you might become. And now they've forced us to become it, So-Min finished. Yes, the ancient alien said. Sadly, you are walking the same path as the architects, becoming something beyond physical limitation. The question is, will you follow them all the way to transcendence? So-Min looked at the old alien through the screen. Elder Coleman, we don't want to transcend anything. We just want to survive. But the galaxy has made it clear that our survival requires their destruction. Admiral Seo-Jun Park stood on the bridge of the UES Nemesis, watching the core worlds burn. 6 months ago, these star systems had been the heart of galactic civilization. Beautiful worlds where the most advanced species lived in crystal cities and floating gardens. Now they were graveyards. Status report, he ordered. Corvani Prime has fallen, reported Captain Da-Yun. Total military collapse. Their government is requesting terms. Nexari homeworld is under siege, added Commander Wu Sung. Their planetary shields are failing. Seo-Jun nodded. The human fleets had moved through the galaxy like a wildfire. What the aliens had thought would be a simple police action against an upstart species had become the end of their civilization. What about the Catherian Empire? He asked. Still fighting, Captain Da-Yun said, but their losses are mounting. Intelligence says they're preparing their planet-killer weapons. Seo-Jun smiled, but it was not a pleasant expression. The Catherians had always been the most arrogant species in the galaxy. They claimed to be the perfect warriors, the ultimate evolution of military might. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Send a message to all human fleets, he ordered. Operation Final Lesson is now active. Show the galaxy what happens when they threaten Earth itself. Across the human fleet, weapons that had been hidden for 50 years came online. Ships that had pretended to be exploration vessels revealed their true nature. The galaxy was about to see what humanity really looked like when they stopped pretending to be peaceful. Bo-Ra Lee had once been Earth's best diplomat. She had spent decades trying to build bridges between humanity and the alien species. She had believed that understanding and cooperation could solve any problem. Those days were over. Now she stood in the communications center of Earth Command, coordinating the systematic destruction of galactic civilization. Her job was no longer to make peace. Her job was to accept surrenders. "Incoming transmission from the Altarian Federation," reported Lieutenant Sung Ho. "They're offering complete capitulation." "Terms?" Bo-Ra asked. "Total disarmament, withdrawal from all contested systems, recognition of human sovereignty over their territory." Bo-Ra considered the offer. 6 months ago, she would have been happy with peace. Now peace was not enough. "Rejected," she said. "Tell them we want their entire military infrastructure dismantled, all their weapons factories destroyed, their fleet scrapped, and 50 billion credits in war reparations." "Ma'am," Lieutenant Sung Ho said carefully, "that will cripple their economy for generations." "Good," Bo-Ra replied. "They voted for our extinction. They should be grateful we're letting them exist at all." She turned to her next communication. The Spiral Alliance was begging for mercy. The Outer Rim Confederacy was offering to become a human protectorate. The Binary Republic was surrendering everything they owned. Fear had spread through the galaxy faster than human ships. Species that had never seen a human soldier were already preparing their surrender documents. "Any word from the Galactic Council?" she asked. "The council chambers on Nexus Prime are empty," reported Commander Haya Jin. "Most delegates have fled to their homeworlds. The few remaining are arguing about whether to surrender or fight to the end." Bo-Ra laughed. "Let them argue. By the time they make a decision, there won't be enough of them left to matter. The Catherian Empire made their move against Earth itself. Their planet-killer weapons were the most feared technology in the galaxy. Each one could crack a world's crust and boil its oceans. They had used these weapons to maintain their dominance for 1,000 years. Admiral Junho Nam watched from his command station as the Catherian dreadnoughts entered Earth's solar system. The alien ships were massive, each one the size of a small moon, their weapons charged with energy that could destroy continents. "Enemy weapons charging," reported his tactical officer. "Planetary bombardment imminent." "Activate Earth defense grid," Junho ordered. Around Earth, hidden installations that had been disguised as research stations came online. The planet was surrounded by a network of gravitational manipulation devices. Humanity had not just been limiting their weapons technology, they had been hiding their mastery of gravity itself. The Catherian admiral sent a final transmission. "Humans, your world ends now. This is the price of defying the galactic order." The alien weapons fired. Beams of destruction that could shatter planets lanced toward Earth. They never arrived. The gravitational fields around Earth twisted space itself. The alien weapons were caught in artificial black holes and torn apart at the molecular level. The energy that should have destroyed humanity's homeworld simply disappeared into folded space. "Impossible," came the shocked transmission from the Catherian fleet. "No species has that level of gravitational control." "You're right," Admiral Junho replied. "No species does. But we're not just any species. We're the ones you tried to exterminate." The Earth defense grid turned its power on the alien fleet. Gravity wells opened inside the Catherian ships, tearing them apart from within. The massive dreadnoughts that had inspired fear across the galaxy crumpled like paper in the hands of an angry child. In 10 minutes, the entire Catherian assault force was gone. Earth remained untouched, protected by technology that the aliens had never imagined possible. "Send the recordings to every world in the galaxy," Junho ordered. "Let them see what happens when they threaten Earth directly." Dr. Eunji-Oh coordinated the systematic dismantling of galactic infrastructure. Her teams were not just defeating alien militaries, they were erasing the foundations of the old order. "Trade route Gamma 7 is severed," reported her assistant, Lieutenant Min Jun. "All Corvani shipping lanes are under human control." "Communication array Delta Prime is offline," added technician Sora. "The Nexari Empire can no longer coordinate their remaining forces." Yunji studied the tactical display. Each alien species that had voted for human extinction was watching their civilization crumble piece by piece. This was not just conquest. This was systematic deconstruction. "Status of the galactic banking network?" she asked. "Collapsed," reported her economic warfare specialist, Commander Jae Sung. "Human cyber warfare teams have seized control of all major financial institutions. Alien currencies are worthless. Trade has stopped." "Military production facilities?" "Destroyed or captured," said Colonel Yuri. "No alien species can manufacture new weapons. They're fighting with whatever they had in storage." Yunji nodded with satisfaction. The galaxy had taught humanity that mercy was weakness. Now they were learning what strength really looked like when applied without restraint. "Begin Phase 3, she ordered. "Start dismantling their civilian infrastructure, power grids, water treatment, atmospheric processors. If they wanted a war of extinction, they can have one." Across the galaxy, alien worlds began to go dark. Cities that had shone for millennia fell silent. Species that had ruled star systems for eons found themselves reduced to scavenging for basic supplies. Dr. Mi-Young-seo watched the transformation of humanity with growing concern. Her job was to study the psychological effects of the enhancement protocols. What she was seeing worried her more than any alien threat. The soldiers returning from combat zones are showing significant personality changes, she reported to Admiral So-min Park. Reduced empathy, increased aggression, enhanced predatory instincts. So-min looked at the data on her screen. Brain scans showed that human neural patterns were shifting. The species was evolving in real time, becoming something unprecedented. "Are they still human?" So-min asked. "Biologically, yes," Mi-Young replied, "but psychologically, they're becoming something new, something that feels no guilt about total war, something that sees alien suffering as entertainment rather than tragedy." Through her office window, So-min could see Earth's cities. They looked normal from this distance, but she knew they were changing too. Enhanced humans walked the streets with reflexes too fast for cameras to capture. Children were being born with capabilities that would have been impossible a year ago. Captain Hyun-woo Kim's latest report is particularly disturbing, Mi-Young continued. He describes alien casualties with the same emotional tone he would use to discuss routine maintenance. The man who once agonized over every lost life now celebrates efficient killing. So-min was quiet for a long moment. "Is this reversible?" "I don't know," Mi-Young admitted. "The genetic modifications were designed to be permanent. The psychological changes seem to be following the same pattern. We may have created a new species that looks human but thinks like something else entirely. Something worse than what we're fighting?" Mi-Young looked at the casualty reports on her desk. Entire alien species were going extinct. Worlds that had supported life for millions of years were being sterilized. The old galaxy was dying, and humanity was building something new from its ashes. "I don't know," she said quietly. "But I'm starting to think the aliens were right to fear us, not because of what we were, but because of what we're becoming." So-min nodded. The enhancement protocols had saved humanity from extinction. They had given humans the power to defeat any enemy. But they had also started a transformation that might never stop. Outside her window, the stars seemed to pulse with new light. Human ships were out there, carrying the fire of war to every corner of the galaxy. They were winning battles that should have been impossible. Admiral Hyun-woo Kim stood in the ruins of the Galactic Council chambers on Nexus Prime. 6 months ago, this had been the center of galactic civilization. Representatives from 800 species had met here to make laws and decide the fate of worlds. Now, it was a tomb. The great circular chamber was empty, except for debris and the bodies of aliens who had refused to surrender. Hyun-woo walked through the ruins with slow, measured steps. His enhanced senses could detect the fear scent still lingering in the air. His improved reflexes made every movement precise and deadly. Behind him, the surviving alien representatives knelt in chains. 47 species had been completely destroyed. Hundreds of worlds had been sterilized. The galaxy's population had been reduced by 60%. The old order was truly dead. "Rise," Hyun-woo commanded. The aliens struggled to their feet. They were the leaders of what remained of galactic civilization. A Corvani admiral with broken wings. A Nexari queen whose crystal crown was shattered. A turban prince whose flowing robes were stained with the ashes of his homeworld. All of them looked at Hyunwoo with the same expression, absolute terror. "You came here to surrender," he said. His voice was calm, but there was something in it that made the aliens flinch. "You offer your submission to the human species. You beg for the right to exist." The Corvani admiral spoke first. His voice shook with fear. "Admiral Kim, we acknowledge our error. We should never have voted for human extinction. We ask only for mercy." Hyunwoo smiled. But it was not the smile of a human anymore. It was the expression of a predator that had cornered its prey. Mercy. You taught us that mercy was weakness. You demonstrated that the galaxy only respects strength. We learned your lessons perfectly. He walked closer to the kneeling aliens. Each step made them shrink back in fear. The man they were looking at might have human features, but there was something else behind his eyes now, something that had never existed before in the galaxy. "You will be allowed to exist," Hyunwoo continued, "but only as long as you serve human interests. Your worlds will produce resources for human colonies. Your people will work in human factories. Your children will learn human languages and human values." The Nexari Queen tried to speak. "Admiral, surely we can reach some accommodation. Our species have much to offer." "Your species have nothing we want," Hyunwoo interrupted. "You are inferior in every way that matters. You are weaker, slower, and less intelligent. You exist only because we choose to let you exist." Supreme Commander So-Min Park reviewed the final casualty reports from her office on Earth. The numbers were staggering. 47 species extinct, 300 worlds sterilized, billions of aliens dead. The galaxy's surviving population was now less than half what it had been 6 months ago. She felt nothing about these numbers. No guilt, no regret, no satisfaction. They were simply data points in humanity's complete victory. "Status of the integration protocols?" she asked her. Proceeding as planned," reported Colonel Hyun-sik. "Surviving alien populations are being relocated to designated worlds. Their military capabilities have been completely eliminated. Their industrial base is being converted to serve human needs." So-Min nodded. The galaxy had voted 847-1 to exterminate humanity. They had believed that humans were too dangerous to exist. They had been right, but not in the way they expected. "What about the enhancement program?" she asked. "Accelerating beyond all projections," Colonel Hyun-sik said. His voice carried a note of concern that he probably did not realize. "Human children are being born with capabilities that exceed adult performance from 6 months ago. Our species is evolving at an unprecedented rate." Through her window, So-Min could see the transformed Earth below. The cities looked the same from space, but she knew they had changed completely. Enhanced humans moved through the streets with inhuman grace. Technology that would have seemed impossible a year ago was now commonplace. "Any resistance from the surviving species?" she asked. "None," Colonel Hyun-sik replied. "They're too terrified to resist. Our psychological warfare teams have been very effective." So-Min smiled. The galaxy had taught humanity that fear was the only universal language. Now every surviving alien species spoke it fluently. Dr. Ji-hai Choi stood in her laboratory, studying the latest data on human evolution. What she saw both amazed and terrified her. The enhancement protocols had been designed to unlock human potential. Instead, they had triggered something far beyond what anyone had imagined. "The genetic modifications are accelerating," she reported to her research team. "Each generation of enhanced humans is significantly more advanced than the last. We're not just improving, we're becoming something entirely new." Her assistant, Dr. Kyung-min, looked at the brain scans with wide eyes. "These neural patterns don't match any known human baseline. The subjects are showing cognitive abilities that border on telepathy." "And the physical modifications?" Ji-hai asked. "Beyond measurement," Dr. Kyung-min replied. "Enhanced humans can survive in vacuum, lift several tons, and move faster than our instruments can track. They're more like living weapons than people." Ji-hai studied the data with growing unease. The enhancement protocols were irreversible and still accelerating. Humanity was evolving beyond their original species parameters. They were becoming something that had never existed before in the galaxy. "Are they still human?" she asked quietly. Dr. Kyung-min was quiet for a long moment. Genetically, yes. But in every other way, I don't think so. There's something new, something unprecedented, something that might be more dangerous than anything the galaxy has ever seen. The surviving alien representatives made their final plea through Elder Coleman of the Vorthak. The ancient alien had lived through millions of years of galactic history. He had seen empires rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like what humanity had become. Supreme Commander Park, he said through the communication system. I speak for all surviving species. We offer complete surrender, total submission. We will serve humanity in whatever capacity you require. We ask only for the right to exist. Somin appeared on the screen. She looked like a normal human woman, but Elder Coleman could see the change in her eyes. There was something cold and calculating there that had not existed in humans before. Elder Coleman, she said, your species stayed neutral during the vote. You will be treated differently than those who voted for our extinction. What does that mean? The ancient alien asked. It means you will be allowed to maintain some degree of autonomy, Somin replied. You will govern your own worlds, but under human oversight. You will serve as administrators for the other species. Elder Coleman felt a chill that had nothing to do with temperature. And the others? The others will learn what it means to be property, Somin said without emotion. They will work where we tell them to work. They will live where we tell them to live. They will exist only as long as they serve human interests. This is not justice, Elder Coleman said. This is genocide. Somin's expression did not change. Justice? You taught us that the strong do what they want and the weak suffer what they must. You demonstrated that mercy is weakness and restraint is foolishness. We learned your lessons perfectly. What have you become? The ancient alien asked. Somin smiled, and Elder Coleman felt his ancient heart freeze with terror. We have become exactly what the galaxy forced us to become. Exactly what we needed to become to survive. The transmission ended. Elder Coleman sat alone in his chamber, staring at the empty screen. In his millions of years of life, he had never encountered anything like what humanity had become. They were not evil in any traditional sense. They were simply beyond such concepts. They had transcended morality itself. 10 years later, the transformation was complete. Admiral Hyunwoo Kim stood on the observation deck of Earth Station 1, looking out at the galaxy that now belonged entirely to humanity. The stars had been reorganized for maximum efficiency. Solar systems that had once supported diverse alien civilizations now served single purposes. Mining systems, agricultural worlds, manufacturing centers, everything optimized for human needs. The surviving alien species had been relocated to reservation, worlds where they lived under careful human supervision. They worked when humans needed labor. They bred when humans needed more workers. They died when humans no longer found them useful. Dr. Mi-young Seo approached him with her final report. She was one of the few humans who still showed traces of the old empathy. Her research into human psychological evolution had made her an expert on what they had lost. The transformation is complete, she said. Humans no longer feel guilt about alien suffering. They no longer question the morality of total domination. They see other species the way ancient humans might have seen livestock, useful, but not worthy of moral consideration. Hyunwoo nodded. Is this a problem? I don't know, Mi-young admitted. We've achieved everything we set out to achieve. Humanity is safe. The galaxy belongs to us. No alien species will ever threaten us again. But, Hyunwoo prompted. But, we're not human anymore, she said quietly. We look human. We have human memories. But we think like something else entirely. Something that has never existed before. Hyunwoo considered this. Are we better or worse?